As a woman, you have to be unafraid. You have to be fearless. You have to be very clear about what you need, when you need it, how you need it, and the repercussions if you don't get it the way you said it. We are not really appreciating the fact that you actually have to build the plane. Don't think that you're just supposed to take off from ground zero. That's not realistic. In order to have any sort of successful brand, you have to understand who you are serving. Who is your customer and why should they care? I'm so happy you brought that up. Not everyone has to be an entrepreneur to see their dreams being fulfilled. Hey y'all, I'm Melissa Butler, the founder and CEO of The Lip Bar, and you're listening to Dreams and Drive.
When it comes to Smart Water Alkaline 9.5 plus pH with antioxidant, there's nothing to overthink. So while you may be in turmoil over whether to take sailing lessons or just get a paddleboard, which festival fit is shuffle friendly, and whether you should join a summer rec league or the singles rec league,
Great play.
don't overthink how you hydrate. Life's full of choices. Smart Water Alkaline is a simple one.
Hey Dream Drivers, welcome to episode 391 of the podcast. And on this week's episode, we have back in the guest chair, Melissa Butler, founder of The Lip Bar. So we first spoke to Melissa in 2017 on episode 119, and she talked all about how she went from stockbroker to beauty entrepreneur. And I'm so excited to have her back on the show because she's going to tell us all about how much the brand has grown since then and some of the many realities of what it means to truly pivot and scale as an entrepreneur, brand leader, and individual. This episode felt like one of those conversations you have with your girl, your bestie, and I'm just so happy that Melissa's always so open about what it really means to be a founder, what it really means to be a woman, and just how we as dream drivers can navigate change as it comes, and especially the desire to grow. If this is your first time listening, please make sure that you're following us on all platforms. You can find us on social media at Dreams and Drive. And if you want to join our email list and get weekly email updates right to your inbox, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/join. That's dreamsanddrive.com/join. All right, let's hear from Melissa.
Hey Raina, thanks for having me again.
I know we first chatted back in episode 119 back in 2017. Can you believe that?
Girl,
That
what number
was
are you on?
I think I just released like 380 something. I don't know which number this will be a 380 something. So,
I'm gonna clap it up for you.
yeah, it's like 8 years of doing Dreams and Drive. I launched it in 2016, and just to still be able to have the platform going and to be able to bring on guests. I feel like, it's funny, whenever I look back up some of my guests, I'm like, I helped launch some people. Well, not really launch, but like, it's like I've been around and I've been here to kind of see people grow. And the Lip Bar story is definitely one that, I think you guys are just always inspiring me. I still wear my Boss Lady to this day. I should have put mine on too. Is that what you're wearing, or?
I am wearing Boss Lady right now.
Okay.
That's it's crazy. Boss Lady has been our number one for like 7 years. It's our best seller in the entire company 7 years in a row. It's insane.
Let me tell you a funny story. So my neighbor is turning 60 and she had this cowboy themed party, mechanical bulls, all her 60-year-old friends were there. So I wore my Boss Lady lipstick, and every single one of those ladies, they were on their phone like, show us how to buy it online. Like, we want this. So if you have some older woman from New Jersey uptick in sales, that was because of this cowboy party. Okay.
Listen, well, I appreciate it. We need all the love. It's really interesting because I feel like the Lip Bar is really well known in a very small bubble. So it's like, if you know us, you love us, you know all about Boss Lady, you know all about Rich Auntie, but there are so many people who have no idea. I'm talking about Black women in Detroit, like where I live, who are like, the Lip Bar, no, I haven't heard of it. So it's just a reminder that no matter where you are in your business journey, because people will assume that I'm so far in my journey, no matter where you are, there's always more work to do. And you just have to decide how you approach the work.
I love that. So let's kind of talking about, we're on a different part of the journey, right? So in 2017, you were at, growing, you had just launched in Target. I don't even think you were in like
Mhm.
Walmart yet. Like you were just,
We just
I
launched in Target.
just launched in Target. You had I don't even think you had expanded into, like, the other products. You were, like, doing lips only, or maybe you were just about to launch into the other SKUs, and now you guys have changed so much or just grown so much since then. What has kind of been the biggest things that have happened since 2017? Then we can kinda go deeper into some of those things. So if you can even remember, right? There's probably been so much.
Girl, I know. I'm like, what did I even eat yesterday? Because every that you're right. There are so many things that happen, good and bad, right? But the bad allows us to really like appreciate the good and really, strive for the good. But let's see. Since I was here, we launched in Target, or we had just launched in Target. In 2017, we were in a tiny fraction of stores. Now, today, we're one of the largest Black owned makeup companies there. And then we launched in Walmart, which is the world's largest retailer. So, like, launching in Walmart was a dream come true because there's like some stat around like no matter where you live in America, there's probably a Walmart within like 15 miles. It's something crazy like that. So it's like
Yep.
Walmart penetrates all of our households in some shape or another. And so we launched in Walmart, and then we launched in some other retailers, but like our business has completely pivoted. We started as a .com business, and now we rely very heavily on retail. We rely on our retail partners. We're looking at them to understand data, to understand how people are shopping, to understand the demographic. And I think more than anything, since 2017, I've been able to sharpen my sword.
Mm.
So at that point, I didn't really have a team. It was like me and a few people, and we were just, largely building our plane in the sky. And I mean, and we're still scrappy, but now I have a 17 amazing women. My team is all women. It's always been all women. But now they have like a skill set. Like I try to ensure that they're smarter than me, that they're better than me, that they're going to keep me in line with my crazy ideas. We raised money, I think, in 2018. And then we raised another close to $7 million in 2022. I mean, so many things have happened. Like I have I have lost. Like I've experienced every single emotion from pride to complete burnout, where it's like, what am I doing this for? Who am I doing this for? And so it's been a beautiful journey, and I can really say that today I'm absolutely proud. 2 years ago, I probably wouldn't have been proud. In 2017, I was just grind mode. But today I can look back and say, like, you know what, Melissa, you gave it your all and it was enough.
And I think that's like, we all want to get to that place where we can kind of look back and be like, wow, like we made it here, right? One of the things that you mentioned that I think is really important is the idea of expanding your team. Because,
Mhm.
we look at you now as a lip bar, TLB, right? Big business and all these retail stores doing phenomenally. But having your solid foundation is key. Like, what tips would you have for people who are at that point of their business where if they don't get the team right, the car is gonna stall?
Yeah. So, what I've noticed from a lot of founders is that we are so afraid to give up control. We're afraid that someone else won't do it as well as us. We're afraid of trusting people to like set up our accounts. We're like, will they steal my
Y'all gonna
identity?
steal my money like they stole Rihanna money, Like,
Yeah, will they steal my money, or will they steal my supply chain? Will they steal my manufacturer? Maybe, but so what? And that's sort of what you have to get to. Like, will they do it as well as you? No, but so what? So being a founder who wants to scale and grow a business, you have to be okay with good enough. And this
mm,
sounds crazy because, we're always chasing perfection, and we think that growth comes from perfection, but it doesn't. It certainly doesn't. Growth comes from iteration. It comes from building it, throwing it out there, seeing if it sticks, gathering as much feedback and data as possible, and then optimizing to get better. And so if you are thinking about growing your business, if you're the person who's wearing 17 hats, I would implore you, and I'm sure this is not the first time you've heard it, really figure out what the one thing is that you could or should be doing. Like, what is the best use of your time? What is the best use of your skill set? And then everything else outsource. Now, here's the thing. I know a lot of people are like, well, yeah, I'm probably the best at the creative or the marketing, because most founders are. Like, we don't, most
Especially
founders,
us visionary creatives in this field, right? We love
yeah,
that
most
stuff.
most people aren't starting businesses because they're like, oh, I'm so passionate about logistics. No, you're like passionate about the product more often than not. And so know that, know what you're passionate about, and then hire around you. And the reality is, a lot of people can't hire. Most small businesses in this country are single member businesses or have less than 3 employees. So how do you hire when you don't have the dollars to hire? How do you hire when you don't even know where to hire? You're hiring your cousin. It happens, especially with Black and brown businesses. You are hiring your friends and family first. I am
Yeah.
no different. I did it too.
Is
Like
it good?
yeah, my first team was like my friends and family, my college girlfriends. And it's like over time, it weeded itself out. But I will say my creative director, Roscoe, has been with me since day one.
She's your co-founder, right? Or
No, I
she?
don't have a
Okay.
co-founder actually,
Okay.
but she's our creative director. She's our chief creative officer, whatever you want to call it. So she's been here since day one. But yeah, the Lip Bar was spawned out of my frustration, and then I just got people to join.
Mm. You mentioned something about good enough, right? What did good enough look like within the growth story of the Lip Bar? Because you guys had so many changes. Even I can imagine the pandemic probably, you guys were hit with that. Like, how did that theme of good enough help you not worry about things that weren't important, right?
So I have always operated with a plate that was probably too full.
Mm.
So for me, good enough wasn't a choice. It was probably forced upon me, because I had so many things that I was balancing and juggling that I realized I had to just let some things go. They say, like, let the chips fall as they may. So even when I think about retail, it's like launching into a store like Walmart, which is a behemoth. Literally, it's the largest retailer in the world. I'm like, do I know how to do this? How do I launch in a store like Walmart? What do I need in terms of sales? What do I need in terms of systems? And it's like, you ask people and you do all of the research, but at some point you have to just make a decision and move on. It goes back to sort of that idea of optimization. You know that you are not perfect. You know that your business isn't perfect. I always tease my team. I'm like, we can't operate like Maybelline because we don't have Maybelline money. So if you understand where you actually are and accept, because you really have to accept it. If you
Yeah.
accept where you are, and then you just get creative in that moment, and you're like, okay, this is good enough so that I can learn from it. So for me, it was just a matter of being clear on like what the actual milestone is, because you can always have a moving target, but then you won't ever have that pause and that reflection that actually allows you to grow.
That's so important. I think that it's just something that sometimes it takes a lot of people a long time, then they give up along that journey. Was there
Yeah.
a point along, the Lip Bar growth story where you thought you guys might not make it, or you might have thought like, are we doing the right thing right now?
Absolutely. So it's so funny because I came on your podcast in 2017. And frankly, 2017 was our first year actually really making money.
And you had been from that point because you guys launched in, was it
We had already
2012?
been in business for 5 years.
Yeah.
Most small businesses do not last 5 years. So I had to have the resilience and the fortitude to keep going for the first 5, 6 years when we weren't making money, when frankly, sometimes it actually wasn't good enough, and I just kept going because I believed in our purpose. I believed in our why. I believed that Black and brown women deserved more from the beauty industry. And so that being said, like there were many days where, we didn't have money, where I didn't have money to pay my own rent, where me and Roscoe were renting her bedroom so that she could sleep in my bedroom and we could Airbnb her room to pay our rent. Like
Wow.
it was just hustle the first several years. And why did I do it? Because I knew that I was still in my training ground. The challenge that a lot of entrepreneurs have right now, I think especially with time, is that we don't really value the journey. We don't really understand that you have to choose your heart. We are not really appreciating the fact that you actually have to build the plane. So we say things like, oh, I built my plane in the sky, but you actually have to put in the work to build the plane.
Right?
Don't think that you're just supposed to take off from ground zero. That's not realistic. So I didn't come from the beauty industry. I didn't come from manufacturing. I didn't come from product development. I didn't come from supply chain, retail management, none of that. I had to learn all of that. And so that meant that I had to be okay with taking the time to make the mistakes and learn it so that eventually, when I finished building my plane in the sky, we could actually fly and not crash. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so there's so many entrepreneurs, to your point, who give up. It's like 2 years, hasn't taken off. And that's fine if that was your actual timeline. I didn't limit myself to a timeline. I really positioned myself from a place of growth. And that only came from me being a student because I had the awareness and the acceptance that I didn't know anything. So I'm like, okay, I don't know it. This is what I want to do. I have to be willing to learn it. Cool. It's time to work.
Did y'all know there's a whole collection of Black-led products that fit into your daily routine and lifestyle that you can get at Walmart? And it's so important that we show Black founders some love, not just during Black History Month, but all year long. Because every time we buy a Black-led brand, we're making room or creating demand for another Black-led brand. Black founders and the products they bring to the table are creating a whole new world of choices at Walmart. Some of the products I want to check out are Creamalicious Ice Cream, Partake Cookies, the Lip Bar, Midwest Kids, and the Do Hair Care. Go to walmart.com/Black and Unlimited to discover all the amazing Black-owned products that you can add to your daily routine.
Black culture feeds fashion, but fashion doesn't always feed Black creatives. I mean, only 7.3% of American fashion designers are Black. So McDonald's is pairing 5 rising Black designers with 5 fashion insiders for career-changing mentorships and the access they deserve. Because we can do better than 7.3. Together, we can change the face of fashion. Follow their journey on Instagram at WeAreGolden.
Statistics sourced from Zippia.com as of 2021.
With Smartwater's pure, crisp taste, there's nothing to overthink. So while you may be road trip ruminating over who's driving first, who's in charge of music, the perfect snack-to-rest stop ratio, and if anyone else is into odd roadside attractions, don't overthink how you hydrate. Life's full of choices. Smartwater is a simple one.
Calling all heroes. Coca-Cola and Marvel are teaming up to release limited edition Coca-Cola products featuring your favorite Marvel characters. Collect them all to assemble your own Marvel universe. And be sure to scan your Coca-Cola for a chance to win superpowered prizes and unlock powerful AR experiences. But act fast, fans. These collectibles won't last long. No purchase necessary. Open to legal residents of the U.S. and D.C. who are 13 and up. Ends on June 30th, 2024. Visit Coke.com/Marvel24 for official rules. You talked about building the plane, right? Let's talk about that a little bit more. Like, what was in the Lip Bar's plane, or what were the components of your plane that helped it grow? I would say, from someone looking in, I think you guys have a really solid mission and vision, right? Like, it's very clear what the mission for Lip Bar is. I think you guys have a strong brand presence, strong marketing. Were there other things or components to your plane that really have helped you guys fly over these, past 7 years?
Totally. I want to say the number one thing is understanding people, which I did not always understand. And this is internally and externally. So, in order to have any sort of successful brand, you have to understand who you are serving. Who is your customer and why should they care? I always say this to my team, it drives them crazy. Like whenever they have a new product idea or want to tell a specific story, I'm like, why should they care? Because really, when you think about the world that we're living in today, where, every 2 seconds there's a notification on your phone. I have my notifications off because that drives me crazy. But like,
Me
if you're
too. Like I'm like, I don't want to see it all day. Let me just go into the
yeah,
app and
let
see.
me just breathe. But like, we're scrolling in a matter of 30 seconds. If you're on social media, you can experience every single emotional available. You can be sad, you can be happy, you can feel inspired, all of the things. So we are inundated with other people's thoughts and other people's feelings. We are inundated with emotions and energy. And so for the average person, you already have a lot going on. So like, why should whatever this brand is telling you, why should it matter so much that you're willing to make a purchase? Why should it matter so much that you're willing to stop your scroll and like it or share it or follow, whatever the case may be? I had to really like buckle in and learn what was important to our customer. How could I actually be a servant leader? How could I make sure that the Lip Bar was showing up for the women who we started this brand for? How could I make sure that we were actually actively listening to their problems and creating solutions to serve them? And then internally, how do I make sure that my team actually is firing on all cylinders because they're actually happy to be there? How do I ensure that they're not burning out? Oh, wait, they are burning out because Melissa, you're burning yourself out. And so it was like, I think people management is like, row 1 through 20 in the plane. And then the other things is kind of like,
Wait, can
the
I ask you a quick question before you get to the other things? I'm just
yeah.
intrigued. How how did you go about really listening to your customers? 'Cause I feel like, you hear that a lot. Like you have to know what's important to them. But what does that look like in real life, right? Is it the social media listening? Is it actually survey groups? Is it being out there in the streets talking to people? Like what was that like for you guys?
Girl, it's everything. It's everything and anything that comes with ease, because not everyone is resourced the same. So for us, it would be, me randomly calling people who placed an order in our Shopify.
They probably were so happy. Did they know it was you though? Or did you just do
Yeah, I would tell them like,
it?
hey, I'm Melissa. I'm the founder of the Lip Bar. You bought this. What made you buy it? How did you find us? And like everyone had different stories. Or it was a matter of doing a lot of social listening. I love reading the comments and I love reading the reviews. And it's really easy to get caught up in like the hype, like to read your own hype, like, oh my God, they love Rich Auntie. But I love the negative reviews because it helps us get better. So while the positive reviews makes you feel all warm and fuzzy and it reminds you that you're on pace, the negative reviews will make you say, oh, that person had that experience.
Yeah.
Was that the intended experience? What can we do to ensure that that doesn't happen again? So I'm reading reviews. We're doing social listening. We send out surveys every year. We actually have a survey that went live today, and we're surveying everyone. And this is me giving y'all real Lip Bar stuff. Today we had a survey that went out surveying every single person who bought from us in the last year, but only bought lip. Because we're trying to understand, okay, so the people who only buy lip, because like you said, in 2017, the Lip Bar only sold lips. Now
Yeah.
we got skincare, tinted moisturizer. We got the whole
The
thing.
fast face routine, right?
Yeah, we have everything. And so I want to understand like what's making the people who are buying the other products, why are they doing it? And what's making the people who are like, no, I'm gonna stick with y'all for lip. I want to understand. I just want to know. There's no harm. But what we have found is that the more data that we can actually piece together and create patterns, the better stories we can actually tell.
Yeah, like, I tell you why I only buy lip, because I can't do makeup, so I'm just like, although it's, marketed as, like, easy to use, I just don't trust myself. So I'm like, "Listen, I'll buy it for somebody else to use on me, but I just personally am not, like, a foundation girly. I don't trust myself with holding the eyeliner, none of that, but I trust myself with doing a lip." So there's your market
I got
research.
you. I am not a makeup artist, but I'm gonna give you a 5-minute face, and you
I
are
don't
gonna be
trust
so
I
happy.
I don't trust myself, okay? But maybe. Okay, so we were talking about the other components. So, understanding your customer is a huge one. Then what were some other ones that were just really important, that really helped the plane fly for you guys? Other components. Hey, Dream Drivers, you all know I've been doing this Mama 2 thing for a few months now, and luckily for me, I can say I've been a Pampered Swallows mama the entire time. It's a full-time job keeping baby happy and healthy, but with Pampers, you can rest assured that you have the diapers on the market for healthy baby skin. Your baby skin is delicate, so it needs extra care and protection. Pampers Swallers also absorbs wetness better versus leading value brand and provides up to 100% leak-proof skin protection to help keep your baby's skin dry and healthy. The fewer things I have to worry about, the better. To really double up on that, you guys must try the new Pampers Free and Gentle wipes for healthy baby skin. Free and Gentle cleans better than Huggies Natural Care. They're 5 times stronger to help prevent tearing during a diaper change. With Free and Gentle, mess meets its match. Pampers Swallers and Pampers Free and Gentle wipes are also dermatologist approved by the Skin Health Alliance, hyperallergenic, and free of parabens and latex. For trusted protection, trust Pampers, the #1 pediatrician recommended brand. Don't forget to download the Pampers Club app today and earn Pampers Cash. Redeem your Pampers Cash for exclusive Pampers coupons, savings, and rewards. You'll know real when you get it. It'll say eBay Authenticity Guarantee, and you'll feel it. Maybe it's a head-turning handbag, a watch that says it all, jewelry that makes you look like the gem, sneakers and streetwear so fresh every step feels fly. eBay gets it. So look for the blue check mark next to that thing you love and be confident that every inch, stitch, sole, and logo is checked by experts. With eBay Authenticity Guarantee, you can trust that feeling of real is always in reach. Ensure your next purchase is the real deal. Visit eBay.com for terms.
The other piece of it was like really honing in on our supply chain. So in
That's like
order
the whole logistics stuff. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
So in order to actually expand, because we had our core skill set, which was, lip, our liquid matte specifically. Like that is what people knew us for. That is what they bought. And so when we wanted to expand, even if it were a matter of just coming out with a new color, or again, launching into a retailer or switching from just selling lip to selling foundation or a tinted moisturizer, concealer, etc. We really needed to understand how to manage our supply chain, which meant how do we manage our manufacturers when we're thinking about launching in a store as large as a Walmart, how do we make sure that we have enough inventory for them? Because the worst thing that you can do at a retailer is launch in their store and then not have any product on shelf. It's
Yeah.
like,
Don't they charge you
no,
for that? Is that what they call chargebacks, or is
absolutely.
chargeback something else?
Absolutely. You can get hit with chargebacks if you don't ship on time. If you don't ship in full, you will get charged for that, because ultimately we live in a convenience economy. And I think about this often, actually.
Mhm.
When you go into a store, your expectation as a customer is that they have it for you.
Yeah.
But
And then
so
you judge the company, you judge both the store and the brand sometime. Like, dang, Lip Bar ain't never here when I want it to be here, that kind of thing.
yeah, y'all never have inventory. So like these retailers are literally just buying inventory in case you want something. And so we had to figure out supply chain, because like that means that we have to forecast properly, forecast our inventory, but also forecast our cash flow, because we're buying more inventory than we've ever purchased just for it to sit there in case you think you want it.
And
You
then
know,
if it doesn't sell, isn't that also something too? So you have to make sure that you guys are actively promoting the brand so that people are coming and then buying it as well.
yes, so that we can actually turn the inventory. And then if it doesn't sell, let's say we take it off the shelf, we have to pay for that. We have to pay markdown liability. Or, if people go into the store and steal it or open it, how like people old school would go to the nail polish shelf and the shelf would just be so many colors. Y'all are just making that product defective and the brands pay for that.
Wow.
So
Don't do that, y'all. If y'all listening, don't do that.
don't do that. Listen, I will personally pick out your lip color. Please don't open it. But we had to learn that full supply chain to understand how much money do we need to buy this inventory? How long will this inventory last us? Because we don't want it to expire on shelf and then we have to destroy it. How quickly can we get it? The Lip Bar produces products everywhere from the US to China to Taiwan and even Italy. So it's like, how quickly can we get it made? So that supply chain was a huge learning curve for us. But ultimately, supply chain is the business. Supply chain not sexy, but supply chain is the business. It is how we are producing the product, how we get it, what the packaging looks like. How do we make sure that the packaging doesn't break on the way and how it sits on that shelf for you? So that was probably the second most important thing in the plane.
You know what? Thinking about that, because it's funny how like your different lives all make sense. So before I, went into media, I used to work at an e-commerce logistics company, and I didn't realize how it's an unsexy part of the business, but it's probably the most important part of the business, right? Like getting the actual product to the customer and just how that works. But I also realize you don't see a lot of Black and brown women in that business, right? But understanding that this part of the business is crucial to success. So, what has it been like for you as a Black woman to navigate spaces that there aren't a lot of you, but you need to understand it and you need to show up very powerful so that people don't mess around with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And not even just a Black woman. So operations, warehousing, logistics, all of that is interconnected, but all of it is deeply masculine.
Mm,
Because when you think about it, it's like it's literally going into the warehousing. It's pallets and pallet jacks and large movements, shipping containers, all of these things that are so masculine. It's trucking. Like when
yeah.
we think about the truck driver, he's literally bringing products across the country. You had to have the confidence, or at least I had to have the confidence to step in when something went wrong. Like during COVID, we were experiencing massive delays. The ports were closed. A lot of our suppliers were closed, et cetera. And you had to have the confidence to speak up and say, no, I need it by this date. And if you don't, we call it teeth in a contract. If we don't, we're going to enforce our teeth in our contract that says, if you don't get it to me by this date, you will pay the fines. So a lot of it was like understanding sort of how the industry worked and what your recourse could be. Like what action could you take if somebody was ignoring you or shipping your product late or shipping defective items or keeping product. We're making lipstick. Some of it can.
Yeah.
What if you're leaving my pallets outside in
Right.
the middle of July and it's in Texas and then it all melts? So I had to learn the hard way how to have and put teeth in my contract so that in the event that something goes wrong, I have a plan of action that can um hold them accountable for their actions so that it's not just my loss. So, and I think that's sort of like the biggest thing, like when you are working with partners that you have to rely on, you have to ensure your safety. And that means making sure that when something goes wrong, it's not just my loss, it's also your loss. And so because it's also your loss, you're gonna care more. But if you don't have, these things in your contract, you can literally just be upside down and they're like, sorry.
And I think it also makes what I'm hearing too is like make sure you have that person who could help you make those good contracts, right? Like a lawyer, a legal person, somebody who understands how to protect your business interests as well, right? Because I know I'm not a lawyer, so I need to have a professional help review all that incoming documentation, right?
Yeah, totally. So as a woman, to answer your question more succinctly, as a woman, you have to be unafraid. You have to be fearless. You have to be very clear about what you need, when you need it, how you need it, and the repercussions if you don't get it the way you said it, So have it in paper, put it in ink, get your lawyer. Like a lot of people don't want to pay for lawyers. That in 2017, when we talked, I probably didn't have a really great lawyer. Now we budget for our legal fees. Like our legal fees are out of this world sometimes, but it's absolutely worth it because the amount of money that I have saved from working with our suppliers or working with logistics or even just negotiating contracts. You need to know, like, one thing I hate, and I think we do this way too often, like, let's say you're just going to sign up at a gym and they're like, just scroll to the bottom and sign this waiver. Don't
Sign
just
right here.
sign that thing so quickly. Know what you are giving away, because every time you sign something, you are giving up your rights to something that is more often than not favorable for that company. I went to the doctor last year and they wanted me to sign something. And I was like, well, I don't agree with this. So I'm not going to sign it. And they were saying like, I couldn't go to see the doctor without it. And I was like, well, I won't go because like, I need to redline this because I don't agree with this, or this. And like that came, like me having that confidence at the doctor's office. And of course they let me go back and see the doctor, but that came from me learning the hard way about not really understanding that every time you sign your name, you're giving away something. And I just want us to be clear on what we're actually giving up.
Thank you for sharing that. And I bet you some people now are going to be reading those, the small
Yes.
print that they want you to scroll past. In our interview in 2017, you said something that you probably will laugh at now. You were like, we don't spend money on marketing, right? You were like, we,
I
we
am
don't,
laughing for sure.
you were like, we don't pay to work with influencers or like whatever. I think like it's just so funny now listening to it. I'm like, wow, but she probably does now, right? Just the whole idea of like, I think at that point you hadn't had any outside investors, but now 7 years later, the business had totally changed. You guys had like funding with like the Fearless Fund, right? Was that Ariane Simone? Is
Mhm,
that her name, right?
that is my Detroit sister and my Delta Pro fight. We went to FAMU together. We went to the same high school. Like I know Arian deep.
Yeah, so it's just interesting now how the funding story has also grown. How do you guys now at the Lit Bar, what's your approach, Melissa, to funding and like why is money so important to growth? And I say that because I think a lot of times, a lot of us dream drivers, we might be dreaming small, we might be scared of the money conversations, but
Mm,
how has embracing the money conversations really helped you grow?
this is a good question. So I'm sort of split in this way because I do think that there is a fork in the road. So
Okay.
you can raise money if you have a business that you are looking to scale in a very significant way, and you have the propensity to deal with investors. So everyone thinks of raising money as like this sexy thing, like everyone wants to do it. It's like this cool thing. Like it's gone so far that people feel like their business is not valid if they cannot raise money. And I want to be very clear, not every business should raise money.
Mm,
And that does not make your business less important or less special. There are multi-million dollar businesses that have never raised. So it's funny because in 2017, we didn't pay for influencers or really invest in marketing. And it was partly because we probably didn't have any money. And then
yeah.
also it
And
was because,
social media was different back then, I want to say.
yes, social
Yeah.
media was different. We were just building with our community. And there is so much beauty in that. But even though we were smaller, I guarantee we were more profitable
Mm,
in 2017 when we weren't investing in marketing. So, and that's why I say like there is a fork in the road as it relates to investment. If you are looking to build a business very quickly, if you are looking to drive outsized returns, if you are looking to grow let's call it 50 to 100% every year, then yeah, raise money. If you are not looking to do that, it is probably not for you. And there have been times where I'm like, why did I take these people's money?
Because you have to pay it back, right? It's not grants.
It is not a grant. People are not giving you their money. They are investing money, which means that they want a return. And they want a return that is at least 3 times. So if somebody gives you $1 million, they expect to get 3 back. Right. And so I want us to think about that a little bit more, because the reality is most small businesses actually do not need money. You need more creativity, or you need a better brand story, or you need a better product. It is not that you need money, or you need to spend your time more wisely and stop focusing on the things that actually don't move the needle for you and focus on the things that do. So many of us waste our time. And I know it's like a funny thing to say on social media, but I don't know that we're really internalizing it as truth. Like, think about how you're spending your day. People are waking up on social media. They're going to sleep on social media. In between that, they're binge watching whatever new hot show the world tells them that they should be watching, or they're looking at Risa Tisa's 70 TikTok. And it's like, you can't tell me that you don't have time to put into yourself, whether that self is like, your health, whether that's your wealth and your business, it doesn't matter. But we are wasting our time completely. And then we wonder why, like, the business isn't growing, or why we're not being creative, because you're not even giving your mind time to rest. So
Right.
it's not that you always need money. It's sometimes you need to take a step back and look at your life and really decide what the vision of your life is. And then you need to attack that. Because I'm pretty sure, unless you are a social media manager, there's probably no reason for people to be spending 2+ hours on social media a day. Like,
We're
why?
addicted. We're helping build somebody else's business. You don't realize that.
Absolutely.
Like, you're helping Meta, the metaverse, whatever, like build their business and figure out how to just make more money from you. And it's also
Absolutely.
one thing that you mentioned that a lot of our other guests talk about is sometimes I think people realize they may not even want the dream they think they want, right?
Oh,
Like,
yes.
if you're not that passionate where you are allowing yourself to spend like hours upon hours of not investing and wasting your time, maybe you need to reevaluate if this is even what you really want.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. And that's why I bring up social media, because I think that the way we're spending our time is feeding what we think we want. It's feeding what we think the vision of our lives should be. It's deciding like what success or what beauty or what love should look like. And I really want us to sort of like have that like a very adult and honest moment with ourselves and be like, okay, do I really want this? Or is this what is hot or trending on social media? Do I even want a business?
Mm.
Because like a business it is the hardest thing I have ever done. It is the most time I have ever spent. There were months where I wasn't even talking to my family and friends like that. They would check on me and I'm like, sorry, I've just been in a hole. It's like, do you
Call
really
me, call
want
me in 3 weeks at 5
that?
p.m. Right?
Yeah, living in the sky, which is, we glamorize lots of things. Travel is certainly one of them, but like I travel like every 7 to 9 days. I don't like traveling.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. So I want us to be very clear, because like, again, if you take money, that will heighten the amount of work, the amount of drive, the amount of attention that you need to pay to your business. And it doesn't always have to be that, but unfortunately for Black and brown people, it's, we've heard the stats, we don't raise that much. So it's not that you raise money and then you take off overnight. It's not that you raise money and then you get to hire everyone and then you kick your feet up. It actually becomes more work. And so I want to just restore the idea that there is beauty in being an actual small business owner. There is so much love and intentionality and freedom around owning a business that is for you and your family. And I think that we don't talk about that enough. We don't praise that enough. Small businesses have built this country. other than Black people versus Black people and then it's small, but in real life, it's like not every business has to like make $5 million or $20 million.
You don't even need that.
Numbers.
Like sometimes, you might just be able to need to make a solid 150K in profit for yourself, right? And like that can bring success. And I think it's really like reining yourself in and saying, what is my true definition of success? And like, how can I make myself happy and peaceful? Because I think about that all the time. Like, 7 years ago, I didn't have two kids. Now I have two kids. And I'm like, I need time. I need freedom. I don't need, like, I want to be able to show up for their events. Because even if like you're really busy in your business, you might not have time to do that other stuff. So what does
Totally.
scale doesn't have to be, and growth doesn't have to be where you're making $1 million business. Everyone doesn't need $1 million business to survive, right? Like
Yeah.
maybe a $200,000 business is good for you, and that's fine, right? So it's being okay with that.
So
Um,
dreamers, homework for you is I really want y'all to sit down, like be quiet, with yourself. Don't go on Instagram. Don't binge watch a TV show. Like I want you to wake up, go for a walk, spend time in nature, come back and journal and figure out what do I really want? Like what do I really want my life to look like in 2 years and 5 years? And whatever that is okay. If you're like, nah, I'm going to be the next Bill Gates. Fantastic. How can I help you? I'm so happy to help you. And like, there will be many of us who build businesses of scale. But if you're like, nah, I don't really want to work that hard, I'm trying to live my soft life, then there's so much beauty in that too. And like, it's okay to like, to not have to like, to be good enough, to bring it back to what I said
And
earlier.
it's
Be
okay
good
for
enough.
like maybe entrepreneurship isn't it? Maybe it's working on for the lip art and being the social
Totally.
media person and helping, be expert in an area that you may not be. Like it's okay. And I think like I want to redefine what dream driving means. It doesn't have to be you are like at the helm of a business. It can be you are operating in a space that you're finding your own definition of success and fulfillment, and you're putting a dream into motion. And the dream doesn't have to be like you're the owner of the plane, right? It could be like you're the person who washes the windows and you fine with that, right? But like you washing the windows is essential to the pilot being able to see where he's going. So
Because everybody on my team is a dreamer. And when I tell you I rely on these women heavily, I mean it heavily. Like
mm,
if they aren't on my side, we're not moving,
mm,
period. So like, I'm so happy you brought that up. Not everyone has to be an entrepreneur to see their dreams being fulfilled. So thank you for saying
yes. No problem. Let's close on collaboration, right? And let's really talk about how Walmart's Black and Unlimited has really helped your brand. So, how has the lip bar really been impacted about by being part of this program? And why do you think it's so important, like for programs like Black and Unlimited to continue on?
So in the wake of like diversity and inclusion efforts literally being attacked right now. One thing that I told the Walmart team this earlier this year, I was like, you know what? Really rocking with y'all. Like, I really appreciate y'all because when everybody is sort of like, ooh, okay, maybe we shouldn't, Walmart is doubling down. Walmart is showing that they are serving a diverse customer and that they will partner very intentionally with small, diverse businesses, not even just Black businesses. Like we are a part of the Black and Unlimited program, but like they're really like digging in locally and really creating segments for their customers, because at the end of the day, like I started earlier, you can't really serve people if you don't know them. And so I
Yeah.
think they've done a really good job of understanding like what their customer needs and then empowering brands like the lip bar, and not just the lip bar, but especially the lip bar, to say, all right, we're standing this brand up. We're going to make sure that the lip bar is seen. The lip bar was in a commercial for like 2.5 months. Like Walmart randomly called me and I was like, a commercial? What? And
National?
it was everywhere. Somebody told me that they saw the commercial during like the NFL, like
Super
the
Bowl?
final, not the
Oh,
Super Bowl, like right before the playoffs.
okay.
I don't watch any sports, girl. I don't
Me,
know what
me
nothing
either.
calls. But like just before the Super Bowl, and like people will be like, "Oh, I'm watching Abbott Kinney, and I just saw your Walmart commercial." And like that's an investment that the Lip Bar, because we're still a very small business. We have big personality. We got big main character energy,
Mhm.
but we're still a very small business. So there's no way we could have ever had like a national commercial without Walmart. And so I appreciate them. I appreciate their collaboration. I appreciate their understanding that, frankly, we are a small business. Like, we're never trying to posture to be bigger than we are. We're very honest. We're like, oh, no, we can't afford that. No, no, can't
Mhm.
do that. Because here's the thing, I think that the key to life is acceptance, not just the key to business. I think the key to life is accepting where you are and then deciding, if you need to action it, if you just need to be grateful in it, if you like whatever you do. But I think it starts with acceptance. And so Walmart has been a partner where we can be very clear about like, this is who we are. And then they accept it. And then we can figure out how to work together to move, whatever the agenda is along. But it all starts with acceptance. And I appreciate that they're accepting their small businesses as they are and for who they are. Like, we serve Black women, period.
Yeah.
We are clear on that. They are clear on that. And it's like, okay, good. That is good enough.
And look, and it's also just helping to help expand who you guys can reach. Like we started out, like, now you got some, older women in New Jersey who are like gonna head to Walmart and try to get that boss lady, right? Because they saw someone like
Yes.
me wearing it without the other makeup. We gonna work on the other parts of the lip bar that I could, the other SKUs I need to learn how to use, right? But they definitely are gonna just now have that exposure, which I think is so important for a lot of the other brands who are also part of the Black and Unlimited. What are you excited about? Like, what's next? What's coming? Like, what are the things that are lighting you up about your where you are going and then where the brand is going?
Okay. And then I have a question for you.
Okay, okay. You want to
Um,
ask me first, or you want to? How you
yeah,
want to do
I
it?
can ask you first. So, like, you've been doing this for a while now. And, I really admire people who stick with things. Because, like, when I tell people about the lip bar is 12 years old right now. Like,
Yeah,
that's insane. And people think it's like, that we're so big and that, we were so lucky, or whatever adjective people want to use to describe it. But for me, it's that we were just so steadfast in our approach. We were so resilient. We were so determined. Um, what has driven you to stay with it
oh,
all?
don't make me cry. It's so
No,
funny
because
that you
that's
say.
so beautiful. Because so many
uh,
people stop, and I applaud you. I admire you for just staying with it. I'm not even joking, because
That's
I know
so
it's
funny
hard.
because it's funny because I was just even thinking about today because I just feel like I'm in this point of life of like having two young kids. I'm just like, I have no time for myself and I'm just always tired. As I was telling you earlier, like, I'm just tired. I'm just tired, right? Like, why am I even doing these interviews? But I think for me, it goes back to like, I didn't ask you this, but I asked you in your first interview, like, what inspires you as a child? And for me, like, I knew that I love to talk to people about their stories and I knew I loved just like listening to people talk about their dreams. And it's like this innate thing where I don't know where it's supposed to go. I don't know where this is going to lead me, but it's just this thing where it's like, I know I'm supposed to be doing it for some reason, right? Like, even when I look at my kids and I'm just like helping them, like, they're just so creative and I love like my son Axel. He's just like, he just brings me so much joy, right? And I want to be able to unearth in him his own dreams. Like, he loves cars, he likes building things. So I feel like it's part of my purpose, but I'm on a journey, but I'm not rushing it, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that has really kept me going has been that. And I think it's also because, like, I keep telling myself, like, year 4 of Oprah's journey, she was still in the newsroom, right? Like, year 5, she didn't have OWN yet. And there's so many things that you have to go through in order to get where you're going. And I'm not rushing it. And I just love it. And I feel like it's so I haven't scaled in the way that maybe I could scale. Maybe I could be doing other things, but I know that I've grown in so many other ways and I'm able to impact other people's lives. So, long story short, like, I just feel like I'm supposed to be here. I
Mhm.
don't yet know how it's all gonna make sense, but I feel like it's all gonna make sense one day. Like, even all the people I've had on the show, like Pinky Cole, Nicole King, like all these women who are now doing all these dope things. And I could say, like, but they were here, Dreams and Drive back in 2018 where they weren't where they were today. So I think that like being able to help people tell their stories is gonna be important. And who knows? I don't know. Hopefully that answers your question.
It does, it
Yeah.
does. Everything I heard was that you love it, and
Yeah,
that's
like
that's all that
it might
matters.
get tiring, but, like, when we sit down and have these conversations, it's like something in my heart goes like, "Girl, you're good at this and you can keep going, right? Like, don't give up on yourself." So that's been the biggest thing. It's like I have this little voice in my head that says, "Don't give up," and it's always ironic. I tell people I never made the connection when I was younger, 10 when I was 10 months old, I was in a very bad car accident with my mother, and, like,
Mhm.
I almost died, right? Like, my life legit almost, like, ended in a car crash, and when I made the name Dreams and Drive, I wasn't even thinking about, like, that I was in a car accident, but it's just ironic how that whole metaphor of cars, like, even my son's name, Axel and Diesel, I'm like, why are we
Oh,
gravitating, right?
wow.
So, maybe I'm gonna have my own car brand one day, I don't know, but
Yeah,
we'll
girl,
see.
come to Detroit. Just come to Detroit. Come visit me. But to answer your question, what am I excited about, and what was the other part?
What's next? Yeah.
What's next? The answer to both of these is sort of the same. I'm excited about right now. Like, I have been more grounded than I've ever been. I have It's kind of crazy, but I don't work as hard on the business. And it's not because the business doesn't need me, it's because I need me.
Mm.
So I've decided, like, I've created boundaries that allow me to be more present in my own life. So I'm excited about that. And now, like, I'm starting to use that extra time that I've given myself on things like gardening. Like, I've planted probably 25 rose bushes and
And I
9
see in social you have, like, you're restoring your house, right? Like,
I renovated a house and just, yeah, I've planted, I don't know, like fruits and veggies and apple trees and nectarine trees and peach trees and just a whole garden and roses and hydrangeas, and like, I'm having fun with that, and it's very grounding while also understanding that I have this incredible business and this incredible community, and that's a part of who I am. It is not who I am. So if you ever meet me, you're like, oh, that's the lip bar girl. I'm so quick to say, I'm Melissa. What's your
yeah.
name? Because, over the years, I have learned that in order to be my best self, I have to allow room for myself. And so, the lip bar is something that I do, is something I'm very passionate about, but it's not who I am. And so I'm excited that I've gotten to that place, and I'm excited that I get to be present. So what's next? I don't know. I'm focusing on today. Like, it's sunny outside. I'm happy. I have a couple more calls. I'll make dinner. I haven't cooked in a few days, so I'm excited about that. I'm really just trying to take it one day at a time while also sowing seeds for the vision of my future life.
Yeah, like, what's life if you can't enjoy it? I see that all
Exactly.
the time, like, enjoy it, like, that's what we're here for, right? That's what dreams and drive should be about, is, like, driving towards a dream that you can actually enjoy, so.
Yes, yes, that is it. Like, don't just drive if you don't even have the capacity to look up and see the sunset. So I love that. I love that. I've enjoyed chatting with you so much.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Can you just tell our listeners where they can find the Lip Bar online if they wanna connect with you and get your products?
Yes, so you can find the Lip Bar on thelipbar.com. If you are in Detroit, we have a flagship store. If you're ever like on a layover here or something, stop, pull up. Of course, we are in Walmart stores across the country and a few other retail stores. So thank you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right, so that's a wrap for this episode of Dreams and Drive. I hope you enjoyed our guest's dream driving journey as well as listening to their keys to success. If you love this episode, you know what to do. Please make sure that you are following us. We are at Dreams and Drive across social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So make sure you're sharing this episode, posting it to your Instagram stories, texting it to a friend, sharing on LinkedIn, wherever you are or online. Just pay this forward and share this with somebody. We really appreciate it. And all the sharing that you do helps us grow our community. If you want to join our email newsletter, The Keys, and get weekly updates delivered to your inbox, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/join. That's dreamsanddrive.com/join. And lastly, if you know somebody who would be great for this show, or if you are someone who would be great for this show, please go to dreamsanddrive.com/pitch. I'm always accepting new guests. I'm always accepting new pitches. So I love to see those pitch requests coming in. Keep dreaming, keep driving, and we'll chat again in the next episode. Bye, guys.